Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Definitely missed you guys. I know it's only been a day. It's only been a day. Hope you guys enjoyed your Monday, Tuesday, and now you're ready for your Wednesday with Eric, the Wrestling Laureate Podcast. You trust with all your, with all your heart and soul to give you all the cool wrestling facts and all the cool storylines, promotions, et cetera, in terms of the professional wrestling industry. I love you guys too. So, thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. First, we're going to start off with our WWE NXT review, and then we're going to move on to our AEW Dynamite preview. And recently, it's been said that Kenny Omega has a major announcement that's going to happen tonight. Uh, you know, 9 times out of 10, this conversation isn't going to go, the way I'm anticipating it maybe to go. Like maybe like perhaps, maybe something in terms of retirement. And like I said, I know AEW is airing, as we speak. So this comes, but let's just play around with it. We don't know what, well, I don't know what Kenny Omega is going to, like I said, whenever I do this show, I don't check Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, social media platforms, YouTube, Google, whatever. So I'm in the dark just as much as you guys are. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kenny Omega has to say. Ultimately, I kind of want to kind of compare it to if Kenny Omega retires, what does it really mean for AEW in terms of um ratings and stuff like that? Because I know recently they've been in a bad trend with ratings going down, and I know that they're kind of hanging on. They're kind of hanging on by a thread. If they want to compete with the WWE, if you want to be one of those second-rate like wrestling promotions that TNA was to WWE for the longest time in the early 2000s, by all means, like just keep doing what you're doing, bro. You're doing great. And lastly, we're gonna finish off with hot seat cool beans, where I'm gonna go through the 12 participants of the women that are competing in the NXT. That competed in the combine. Ultimately, they're going to fight in a tournament. Last six participants will fight in a six-pack ladder match at NXT Battleground at the UFC Apex Center. So yeah, it should be pretty awesome. Hope you guys stay through the for the better part, the most part, but hopefully the whole show, absolutely the whole show. So before we move on, I want to remind you guys that we always looking for tips and donations. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net with your questions. So just put your questions up on top so I can see it. Tell me what you like about the podcast. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to further elaborate on or talk about. Let me know some of your predictions. Put it in the chat. Tell me how you feel like AEW Dynasty Dynamite's going to go, and how you guys felt about WWE NXT. Definitely a lot of fun when the audience interacts. So once again, it really does help the show, guys. At the GSMC Sports Network, we love peace, love, and positivity all the way. And again, the link is the GSMC podcast.net. So don't be afraid to hit up that tips and donations link, 110%. So. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our first segment. We're going to talk about our NXT review. So WWE NXT preview was kind of like a huge from WWE NXT Spring Break in week two. I keep wanting to say night two because of WrestleMania and stuff like that. But ultimately, I felt like it was like a huge like rebound after that. A lot of implications from that pay-per-view. A lot of reasons heading toward the UFC for Battleground. We saw Wesley versus Josh Briggs. Wesley made his return in NXT last spring break in week two. So I thought that was pretty cool. Wesley, like we mentioned before in the prior podcast, is definitely the longest reigning WWE NXT North American champion. So I thought, he's coming back and he's coming back with a vengeance because he went out with a major injury. Like he said he couldn't feel from like his like under like his I think he said his midsection region where he couldn't feel his legs. Thought he was gonna have to retire from wrestling all in all. And kind of like, that kind of injury is just it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. A lot of superstars have suffered that, like Darren Drozdov, he's paralyzed, paraplegic. So I don't know, wrestling, it's not just, your standard men's soap opera. It's, there's a lot of physicality that goes along with it. it's sports entertainment, so it's at its best, it's at its peak. I don't think anything. I can honestly say from the bottom of my heart that I love watching sports. Love watching sports. Love getting excited about sports. But probably one of the most exciting things is professional wrestling. It's an art form. It definitely has an aesthetic beauty to it. Definitely something to be appreciated. So, wrestling fans out there, you understand my vibe. Those who aren't wrestling fans just yet, just, give it a chance. That's all you gotta do. Give it a chance. All right, moving on. So we have Josh and Ivar brawl out after the match. Of course, we saw Wesley pick up the win. Honestly, I kind of didn't like Wesley picking up the win here against Josh Briggs. Wesley, like I said before, came back from a major injury. Definitely should have maybe took a little more time getting used to inside the ropes before he takes down a guy like Josh Briggs because for the longest time I felt like maybe WWE NXT were kind of grooming Josh Briggs to, fight Obafemi again for the North American Championship. So now you have all these guys going out. You have Wesley, Ivar, the Viking Raider, and then you have Josh Briggs fighting at the end of the match, fighting for a chance to fight the North American champion. A lot of scrutiny, a lot of craziness going on. It wouldn't surprise me at WWE NXT Battleground. We can see like perhaps a fatal four-way match. I think that would be pretty good. I think that would be a really, I think that would be money idea. But, it should be interesting to see what Ava does into, the general manager of the WWE NXT, how she goes about this. And of course, the general manager, HBK, Shawn Michaels, and William Regal. So, should be interesting. Next, we saw Shayna Baszler fighting Carmen Petrovich. And we saw this match ultimately ended the way we kind of thought it was going to be. When Natalia fought Lola Vice at the UFC Apex, um, she almost got the win, and I felt like she was going to win, but it was Shayna Baszler that choked out Carmen Petrovich that kind of distracted her. And, obviously as a concerned friend, Natalia was like, "All right, like what are you doing to my friend?" Like, so then she went to go back her up, but ultimately it was kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like a huge, kind of like a trap. Lola Vice was able to pick up the victory, knocked out Natalia. Bam, she was down. That was it. UFC Underground, first ever women's, that in the books. But ultimately, I want to say that Shayna Baszler is kind of not using this as like an excuse to like get back up on top, but I think WWE definitely wants to make her like one of the like I don't want to like one of the head honchos in terms of the NXT Women's Division, which honestly is definitely something that WWE should consider because of how talented Shayna Baszler is. She has an MMA background, kickboxing, Muay Thai, judo, kickboxing. Like she's done it all. She's done it all. And she's fought in the UFC before. The way WWE kind of handled her. She's a two-time NXT Women's Champion, but I feel like WWE definitely could have, found a way to kind of utilize her more to the point where she can be at or would have maintained a level of success if WWE would have pushed her right. But ultimately that didn't really happen. So Shayna Baszler tapped out Carmen. That was the end of that match. Next, we have Axiom and Frazier. Axiom and Frazier, you saw the OC, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows come up and try to do the too sweet with them. Axiom and Frazier said, hell no. Hell no, this is the NXT. This is the tag team division. We're cutthroat. We're not making friends with anybody. Like what Triple H said there, Seth Rollins, if you're not making enemies, you're not being successful. You're not doing your job right. And I feel like I don't know if that sat really well with Axiom and Frazier in terms of this, but so I saw the spunkiness of it. It was cool. I thought it was cool, but ultimately I like Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. So the fact the fact that they didn't acknowledge the Good Brothers, I thought was kind of bad. But that's just me. Like I said before, it was probably just to kind of build up this momentum for a potential match against each other fighting for the WWE NXT World Tag Team titles. So ultimately, for the best for the OC, but in the moment, I was like, damn, why are you dissing the OC like that, bro? You don't do that. Come on, Axiom. Come on, Nathan Frazier. What are you doing? Next, we saw how Fallon Henry dropped Thea Hale at WWE NXT Spring Break in Week 2. That was pretty crazy. And she was seen backstage talking to all the superstars, all the women superstars in the division. Ultimately, she said Fallon comes first. Fallon Henry comes first. And then you also saw the woman combine. The woman combine, I gotta be honest, all the little drills that they were having and stuff like that. It was it's different. It was cool. I could see how you were trying to connect that to the NFL audience, trying to get people on board with these draft picks, like the way you sit down during the NFL draft and you're like, oh my God, I really hope this guy gets drafted. I saw him in the combine. I saw him ran a 4.5 in the sprints and stuff like that. But ultimately, like I kind of, I kind of didn't like it. But that's just me. That's just me. I'm a wrestling fan. They showed highlights of Thea Hale, like, pushing the little Gertie that, you see offensive linemen doing and defensive linemen. And, dude, it was cool. It was cool. It was mellow. I'm not trying to hate on it. Not trying to hate on it. A little silly, but it's different. So perhaps maybe they accomplished what they want to accomplish. Maybe me talking about this right now, showing you guys my disapproval, showing you guys reasons to, kind of get hyped about it in terms of like a meteor rain. But honestly, I feel like it's done its job. So, but we found the 12 participants. We're going to talk about it a little later, but let's go ahead and move on. We saw Tyson and Tyreek fighting the Heritage Cup champs, the no quarter catch crew, without Drew Gulak, which is sad story, but well, we'll move on. We'll move on. So then the D'Angelo family came out and they wanted revenge, and they said that, hey, honestly, guys, the referee isn't coming out today, so we have to find a new we have to find a new referee for this match. Ultimately, it was Stacks. Stacks came out. He was the special guest referee. He kept it. No, he didn't really keep it fair. I lied. I lied. I'm just kidding. No, but Stacks basically, he helped the North Dakota Catch Crew achieve absolutely nothing. I feel like this is going to lead up to like the Tony D'Angelo against one of the members of the No Quarter Catch Crew for that Heritage Cup. Honestly, I like it. If I would see the title or the trophy change hands, I would love to see the D'Angelo family holding it. So, definitely kind of, sporting for the D'Angelo family right there. Next, you saw Ariana Grace against Mi Chen. Ariana Grace, although she is very successful, she is very talented. She just can't really get it done in the ring. Like, she comes out walking out like a princess, kind of like a Disney princess. When I saw her entrance, I got, major like Disney princess kind of vibes, and I was like, man, that ain't gonna last in the WWE. Hopefully they don't cut her. I love the way she's like, she's with that other superstar that she's trying to make more womanly, I guess. But ultimately, Mitchin showed that why she's a complete badass. She's part of the OC as well. She was able to beat Ariana Grace, building up momentum. But Gigi Nolan. There we go. Gigi Nolan is the name of the girl that that they're trying to make a little more girly. But hey, next, you saw SummerSlam in August 3rd. Tickets are going to be on sale this Thursday in Cleveland, Ohio. Definitely something y'all should consider, especially if you are in the area. It's going to be an amazing match. I kind of put up my 3 predictions on my YouTube shorts. Go ahead and check it out. Not going to spoil it right here. So if you want to know, you're going to have to find out. You're going to have to search for those shorts, baby. Anyways, that was a bad accent, but promise you guys, it's all for a reason. So next, we have the Supernova Sessions. What was in the envelope with Trick Williams? It was kind of funny because when they brought out the envelope, a lot of people saw kind of like a Maury, kind of Jerry Springer, like Montel, like Dr. Phil, like are you the father and stuff like that, and like the crowd was absolutely going nuts. It was pretty cool. Like, to be honest, I heard that and I was like, oh my God, like these guys are, and even Trick Williams said it like himself. He was like, I am not the father. Like, he played on into it. I think that's the reason why a lot of people love Trick Williams, except especially me. I love Whoop That Trick. That's my guy. It showed a picture of Noam Dar losing to Trick Williams. Noam Dar was saying this was the match that kind of got you to propel and kind of helped you jump up and step up into your game and to become the man you are today. Challenge Ilya Dragunov for that WWE NXT Championship. So in a way, I pushed you no matter what you say, no matter what you think. But ultimately, the match was botched because Noam Dar's foot was under the bottom rope. Usually in the WWE, that signifies kind of like a rope break. But so then that kind of started, and then Trick Williams came out. He was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like, hold on! Like, we don't have to go through all this. Why are we going through all this unnecessary stuff, man? If you want to challenge me for the WWE NXT World Heavyweight Championship, Noam, just ask, man. Just ask." So then ultimately, and then you saw Lash Legend and you saw, Trick Williams, flirting like, they always do. Kind of like high school, kind of like high school lovebirds. Am I a dork to be like, oh, I hope they really make it through? High school sweethearts. No, I'm just kidding. Like, but I think, they're, the romantic aspect of it is, kind of pretty cool. I know past in the WWE, the whole storylines between romantic love, sometimes it hits, sometimes it don't. Most of the time it doesn't really hit. So, like I said before. And he was like, Trick ain't that daddy. Like, I don't know. It was pretty cool. It was pretty badass. So then you saw Fallon Henry fight Kaylani Jordan. Henry got the win, kind of building up momentum for her. I feel like she's going to be one of the last ones left and fighting in that 6-pack ladder match between the women for the WWE NXT Women's North American Championship at the UFC Apex Center in Nevada. So definitely looking forward to that. But so then I have the top 12 superstars here. I have Sol Ruka, I see Thea Hale, Jada Parker, Brinley Reese, Mi Chin, Fallon Henry, Ivy Nile, Izzy Dame, Kaylani Jordan, Lash Legend, Tana Paxley, and Ren Sinclair. So those are the 12 women that have moved on from the combine and will fight in qualifying matches next week in WWE NXT. And just to kind of finish it off here, we had Duke Hudson fighting against Lexis King. Lexis King picked up the victory. Obviously, he was, kind of tormenting Rich Holland and Thea Hale for kind of being like, like, hey, like, you guys can't keep your anger under control. You guys think it's going to actually help you win matches? It's not. So, Duke Hudson couldn't do what he could to defeat King. Ultimately, they lost. But the WWE NXT Women's Championship was the main event. You saw Roxanne Perez defeating Chelsea Gray. It was a clean match. It was, relatively clean. It was relatively clean. Definitely both competitors have their reputations of kind of being like heels to the point where like they're willing to do anything, including cheating, to like, help them win the title. We didn't see that happen here. Thank God. Love that. Obviously, what you saw at WWE Backlash with Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, I feel like under the Paul Levesque era, you're going to see a lot more matches, especially in terms of title matches, that are going to just be clean, well thought out, thoroughly produced inside the ring, and ultimately you're going to see the best competitor come out on top. So, love that. Very impressive. Like I said before, Chelsea Green lost, but I felt like this was kind of like a huge step in her career. Why Chelsea Green is going to be a WWE NXT Women's Division superstar that's going to basically kind of, she's going to make it up to the top. I know you saw Ariana Grace and you kind of saw her bonding. Perhaps maybe that could be the next tag team, but it wouldn't surprise me. But then you also have Piper Niven. I don't know what they're planning to do with Niven, but honestly, I would kind of like to see the tag team between Green and Grace. Green and Grace. It just works. Or Grace and Green. Whatever you guys want to, whatever you guys want to talk about, or whatever you guys want to, further elaborate on. Well, all right, we're moving on from our first segment. We're going to talk about our second segment coming up next. We have our AEW Dynamite preview. We're going to talk about all stuff AEW, everything in terms of the, Kenny Omega coming back and getting attacked by the Elite. Has an announcement to make tonight. You see, Adam Copeland defending his TNT Championship tonight, and you see you see Swerve Strickland go face to face with Christian Cage. So hey, don't go anywhere.